Morning.
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 I like this format now.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know why it's taken us 175 episodes, but I like that we say morning at the beginning and not
Yeah.
halfway through.
I like it. Yeah. And I like it even more when my microphone doesn't cut me out.
Well, it did ever so slightly, but
Morning. I know.
yeah.
I was practicing this morning, actually. Because, when you look at the audio thing and it's
Yeah.
got that little bar that goes up, and I was going, morning.
That was perfect.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Really
Well,
perfect.
it wasn't showing anything. Wasn't showing red, wasn't
Mhm.
showing yellow, certainly wasn't showing green.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's about the decibel that you do it at. I think it's the tone. If you go into that
It definitely
higher
is.
octave, it'll cut you
Cut
out.
you out.
Yeah, exactly. Soulful, too angelic.
Yes, far too angelic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've just noticed that my computer is literally typing everything that we're saying.
Oh, like my phone did that one time when we was reading Harry Potter.
God, that was hilarious. I was like,
Typed it all
what?
out, sent it to you.
What's she
Reading
talking
Harry
about?
Potter, and then it was like, go up to bed, stop fucking around on the stairs.
I know. I was like, how does she know I'm fucking about on our stairs? Claire was like, see? Yeah. No, it's really weird. It's yeah. Oh, it's just said that apparently you said, oh, fun tubs.
No, I didn't.
She
What?
didn't say that. Oh,
Load of bollocks.
fun tubs.
I always say that.
Oh,
don't I?
always.
Always say fun
Yeah.
tubs.
Morning, fun tubs.
Fun tubs.
That's Sarah's nickname for
Do you
me.
know what else I always say?
Yes, I do.
Random blams, go. Honestly, that's a skill, that is. That is a talent.
Proper skill. Oh yeah, actually I was going to do a positive pickle, but I just remembered that I did actually have a blam.
Good.
My blam is in the 1830s, tomato ketchup was actually sold as a medicine to cure stomach illnesses.
That's quite acidic, isn't it?
It's quite gross, really.
I can imagine it didn't solve many
like
problems.
A spoonful of ketchup. Take your medicine.
Yeah, but it would have been very different ketchup, wouldn't it? It would have just been like squashed tomatoes.
Well, yeah, but even that,
Oh.
rank.
Right. My random blam is going to be, I am going to tell you all what the fuck happened to my legs.
Oh, yes.
That is what I'm going to tell you all. So, first of all, I'm going to read out some of the comments because we said wrong answers only. What happened to Sarah's legs? Right. So, we got some great ones. We got, you commented and said, Susie finally had enough of waiting for Sarah to stop writing her story and savaged her. Which is a very, very likely story.
Yeah, I thought that was probably not funny, but probably quite accurate. Yeah.
My dad said the tattooist ran out of ink, which
Very
would
good.
leave those sorts of marks, I think, because it's just like a big old couple of needles scratching over your skin.
Yeah. Or siphoning blood to use instead of ink. Yeah.
I don't know what sort of tattoo I was getting, but wasn't that?
No.
Lisa Wells says aliens.
Absolutely.
It could be, couldn't it? Can you imagine if you woke up one morning like that? The only explanation would be either Susie.
Have you felt for any like bumps under the skin? Like in case they've like made a little incision, put a little microchip?
Well, no, because I know it wasn't aliens. So no, I haven't done that. Jennifer said I like this one. A small committee of backyard spirits decided Sarah needed correction.
That's like very likely.
Yeah, that is quite likely.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hodge says demon possession. 100% Kate is calling up the exorcist right now. Which you would be. I think you would be. I would be the one to be possessed. You would be the one to rid me of my possession.
And as we know, Sarah has been possessed on this podcast
a few times.
More than once, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happens.
Yeah.
But you'd be curing me of my possession, going, I told you.
Yeah. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Yeah.
Leslie said, "Did I get a kitten?" Which again, quite a likely scenario is that they do look like cat savages because cats are knobheads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knobheads.
Yep.
Steph said dogging, but that's gonna have happened to Steph.
Dogging.
Yeah,
Oh,
dogging. Because Steph is a friend of mine, so I'm
yeah.
allowed to say that actually they're probably injuries she's likely to have sustained while dogging.
Steph,
Not my
you
injuries.
dirty
And
girl.
Jerry, who I like this one a lot, said, "Did you meet the tiger who came for a pint?"
I love that.
So, do you? I'm glad you know. So, the tiger who came for a pint is was written by Sean Locke on what's it? The countdown thing. Where the
I
comedians
can't.
do
There's no.
countdown. What's it called? Oh, 8 out of 10 cats does
Oh,
countdown.
yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. And he reads out this tiger comes for a pint, and it's so funny. It's so funny. So basically, the tiger, after mauling an innkeeper or a zookeeper, he's obviously thirsty, and he goes to the local Weatherspoons for a pint, and eats the uh what's it called, raffle meat. Eats
Raffle meat.
the
Yeah.
raffle meat. Eats drinks all the rum for the Caribbean night,
Nice.
and savages quite a few people, and ends up having to get a taxi home. But it's quite a hilarious story, and it is on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch it because it's well funny.
Nice.
Um, but those are the suggestions that we had. Now I will tell you
Who's the
what
closest?
actually what none of yous what actually happened. I
Okay.
sustained my injuries. Now they were worse than what the photo looked because obviously I had them on the back of my legs, like the inside of my legs, some on my arms, had them everywhere. We I was retrieving our boomerang from the bushes.
Boomerang from the bushes.
Yeah, a boomerang from the bushes. So we'd got a boomerang
Of course you
because
have.
Josie seemed to think that boomerangs are like unicorns and that they just don't, they're not a thing. You can't throw them and they come back. It can't be done. It's
Okay.
not real. So we obviously got a boomerang
So you were
so
trying
I
to
could.
prove your point that it would come
Well, you know
back by
what?
getting it.
That sounds like me, doesn't it? But actually, it was Haley.
Oh,
She, I could do that. I could do. She's
okay. I'm
exactly
pretty
like
sure I could
me.
do that.
And she kept going, when obviously we were throwing the boomerang. So the boomerang on the second throw went directly into the thorn bushes. On the
Right.
second throw, we was like, damn it. And it was so far into these thorn bushes that obviously I had to dive in and I was wearing shorts.
Oh,
And
I'd have left it. I'd have been like, that's over. That's
well,
done
no,
now.
because I
Bye. Of
wanted to prove that I could do a boomerang.
course you did.
So I had to go and get the boomerang. And then we obviously couldn't make it come back to us. We'd get a little curve on it sometimes, but it was pretty much impossible to get it to come back. And Haley was at the utmost devastated because she kept going, I know I'm a boomerang girl, though. I know I am. I know I can do it.
She's
I've
so
got it
much
in
like
me.
you.
I'm a boomerang
Jesus.
girl.
I'm a
And I said
boomerang
it's
girl.
it's really funny because I say that to Josie when I'm singing in the car. I'm like, I know I've got it in me to be like Whitney Houston. I know it's in there. I just haven't unlocked it
I
yet.
just can't get it out.
It's not working. So yeah, she's very much like me.
Hmm.
So that is how I sustained my injuries, climbing through the bushes to get the boomerang.
I don't think, yeah. I mean, it's a good job that you said wrong answers only.
Mm.
But I mean, yeah, no one could have guessed that. I was thinking, like, more than likely, it was probably like gardening.
Well, almost.
But yeah,
Someone else was gardening in the
yeah,
field.
possessed by a boomerang.
Could have been oh, I was gonna make a Harry Potter reference, but actually I've got that wrong, so ignore that. Cut that out.
All
I'm
right,
never wrong about Harry Potter.
forget that. Oh
Oh,
well,
well,
there you
random
go.
labs then. Done.
Gone. Do we have any other business before we?
We do have some shout outs.
Nice.
We've got some shout outs. We've got some shout outs to our newest subscribers. They have joined our Blamley. Our Blamley is ever growing. And the Blamley, if you don't know what the Blamley is, they are part of our little bonus community that we offer to people. What have we got now? Like over 40 episodes. All the
Extra.
case files. Oh yeah.
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 Extra episodes, not over
Bonus
40.
episodes.
We have got over 40 years.
We have, yeah, bonus episodes, all the additional content, and obviously just the feeling of being part of the Blamley.
Yeah.
So
And if you think that you could, like Sarah and myself, you could potentially deep dive into any of the cases that we've done and solve it, as me and Sarah have tried on many occasions, on many cases, we have extensive case files on the website, which as a Blamley member, you will as a Blamley, you will have access to. So yeah, we give out quality content, as you can hear. Yeah,
we are ever professional.
Ever professional, yes.
So
So
a shout out to Catherine. Thank you, Catherine.
Good name. Thanks,
yeah,
Catherine.
Great name. Thank you for joining the Blamley.
Thank you.
And one last shout out to David. Thank you, David, for joining our Blamley.
Thank you, David, and welcome on board.
Welcome.
Welcome. All right, well, that's great.
No other business.
No other business. So let's episode then. Or as Sarah would say, let's crack on.
Let's crack on.
Good morning. As you will have seen, the title of today's episode is Brian Shaffer. If you are a true crime fan, lover of mysteries, then I have no doubt you will know this case, especially if you are from America. It's a widely known case and story because it is absolutely mind-boggling. Perplexing doesn't even cut it, honestly. This is one of the cases that I just cannot come to I think it was probably this.
Right.
And I have to say, of all the stories that I have covered, this is the most perplexing, which is a bold statement.
Yeah.
But I need to get some kind of
resolution.
Yeah, something, just some kind of answer. So this, out of all of our cases, I am asking Sarah and I am asking all of our listeners, if you have thoughts on this, or you think, I think it was probably this and this is why, please get in contact, because it's just a mystery, the most mysterious of mysteries. So I'm going to tell you the story of how it happened, what happened, and it's a fairly quick story, predominantly because there's just no evidence.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing after this. It's like the whole world has gone, don't know.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So Brian Randall Shaffer was born on February 11th, 1979 in Pickerington, Ohio. He stood at 6 feet 2 inches tall, with brown hair and brown eyes. He was bright, he was driven, and he was well loved. He was also incredibly handsome. Like, if you imagine like the sort of all-American boy, do you know what I mean? Like this American guy, good looking, chiseled face. He was just beautiful. He earned his bachelor's degree in microbiology from Ohio State University in 2003. Then he entered College of Medicine where by early 2006, he was a second-year student. To his family, his father, Randy, younger brother, Derek, and his girlfriend, fellow medical student, Alexis Wagoner, Brian seemed destined for a brilliant future. But on March 6th, 2006, everything shifted. Brian's mother, Renee Shaffer, died after a long battle with, I can't pronounce this word, myelodysplasia, which is a rare form of blood cancer. Brian and his mother had been exceptionally close, and the loss of his mother absolutely devastated him. Before she died, she had gifted Brian a trip to Florida with his girlfriend, Alexis. Brian told his mum that he was thinking of possibly proposing to Alexis, and Renee had given Brian the details of a good jeweler that she had used. I want to point out there is a lot of debate about this whole like jeweler thing, engagement ring thing. I've listened to many podcasts. I've watched a lot of documentaries. Some say that Brian had an engagement ring and he bought it from this jeweler's and he was fully intent on proposing to Alexis. And there's, which to be honest, I trust maybe a bit more. I've seen interviews with the detectives and the investigators that worked on the case, and they said that there was no record of him going to a jeweler's and buying an engagement ring. There was no receipts, no evidence of him actually buying an engagement ring. But this trip to Florida was going to be her last gift to Brian. When she'd passed away, although he tried to keep up appearances, those closest to him saw that he was just absolutely devastated and he was grieving. He threw himself into his studies. His mum worked in the medicine field. So I think for him, it was that he was really trying to sort of honour his mum by becoming this, brilliant doctor. Once his exams had wrapped up, he planned this spring break. So on April 3rd, he and Alexis were due to fly from Columbus, Miami, Florida. A trip that Brian's friends say that he intended to propose to Alexis on this trip. But this was an important trip. His mum had paid for it. He was looking forward to going. On the evening of Friday, March 31st, Brian had dinner with his father, Randy, at the Outback Steakhouse in Columbus. Randy later recalled that Brian just looked exhausted. He said that his son looked like he'd been burning the candle at both ends. He was talking about the trip to Florida. He was saying that, he was excited to go on this trip with Alexis. Just have some downtime, not think about studying, not think about, all the sadness and everything else. So, they had a nice dinner. But he said, Brian was in good spirits. He was perfectly happy and cheerful, to a point. But he just looked exhausted. Around 9 p.m, Brian called Alexis, who had gone to visit her family in Toledo before they went on this trip to Florida. So she was spending like the weekend, and then she was coming back on Sunday, and then they were due to fly to Florida on the Monday. So he called Alexis. He told her that he loved her. He said, "I can't wait to see you." She said that he was completely normal. She said he wasn't, you know, speaking with sadness. He wasn't angry. Just absolutely no hint that anything could have been wrong. It was just completely normal. Around 9:30 p.m., Brian met up with his friend William Clint Florence. So they all know him as Clint. He was also 27. He was an OSU graduate, and they were plans, you know, they were having these plans for Friday night to go bar hopping in Columbus's busy arena district. Their first stop was the Ugly Tuna Saloona, which was a popular two-story bar perched above street level. So let me explain the setup to this Ugly Tuna Saloona.
So you don't need to. I've got it in my head already. I know what it looks like.
So the only reason that I'm saying this is because the Ugly Tuna Saloona features massively in this story of Brian going missing. So there's like the doors to the street. So you come off the pavement or sidewalk. You go through the doors and you are met with two escalators, one going up, one coming down, and they're right up against a wall. So you would go in the doors, you'd see these two escalators, you'd go on the right one up by the wall, you'd go up to the top. There was a small kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like a landing, a lobby, whatever it is. But there's a piece of floor at the top, and then you'd sort of turn right and you'd go into the Ugly Tuna Saloona, and that's all sort of to your right. So they visited other spots throughout the night. You know, they started off at the Ugly Tuna Saloona and then they left. And then they met up with Meredith Reed, and she was 26 at the time. She was a friend more of like Clint's than Brian's. But you know, they met up around midnight, I believe. Shortly after 1:15 a.m., security cameras at the Ugly Tuna Saloona captured Brian, Clint, and Meredith coming up the escalators. And I will put this in the video so that you can see them coming up, and I'll put it on the website as well. So you can see them coming up the escalator. They're chilled, you know, Brian's just sort of, you know, got his hands on the bar, you know, he's chatting to them, they're coming up. And then they go into the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The place was packed. A live band was playing. This delighted Brian. Brian, he kind of always said to people close to him, although he was studying to be a doctor, he knew that he wouldn't be in the medical field forever, for his whole life. He had a real passion for being a musician. So he always said, one day I'll stop being a doctor and I'll start up a band. You know, he was a good musician. But so yeah, so you know, he was loving this. There was a live band playing. There was crowds, you know, it was quite packed in there. And for the next 30 to 40 minutes, the three of them, you know, knocked some drinks back, had a good time, chatted with other people. Clint and Meredith said that Brian was, you know, mingling, having sort of chat with everyone. It was good vibes. And around 1:50 a.m., so 10 to 2 in the morning, Brian stepped out through the main doors onto this landing, or as me and Sarah call it, piece of floor. And surveillance footage can see him standing there. He's looking relaxed, he's smiling, he's casually chatting with two girls, girls around their 20s. He seemed slightly intoxicated, but fine. You know, he was obviously a little bit pissed. They'd been on a cockerel, yeah. So, but he was fine. Nothing about his manner raised alarm. And roughly 1:55 a.m., he said goodbye to them. He turned, he walked straight back towards the main doors, went back into Ugly Tuna Saloona. And he vanished from camera view. So the camera is literally on the top of the escalators. So you can see the escalators, you can see this top bit of floor, but you can't actually see the main doors to the Ugly Tuna Saloona. But there's nowhere else to go.
Else.
Yeah, there's nothing else. And this is the last confirmed sighting of Brian Shaffer. That's literally it.
Is there another exit route?
I'll get to that.
Right.
So by 2 a.m, closing time arrived. Clint and Meredith are like, where's Brian? So they're sort of looking around and there's people coming out and they're like, oh, well, let's go out and, you know, stand on that bit of floor at the top of the escalators. We'll see if like he's out there. He wasn't. And they were like, where is he? So they walked back inside the bar, looking around. Everyone started emptying out. And they couldn't find him. So they then said, right, let's go and check like the restrooms. So they did. No sign of Brian. They looked in the back corners, like round by where the band was, all of that, nothing. And they thought, oh, well, you know, he's nuts about like one day being this band member, having his band. Maybe he was talking to the band. So they went over. They were like, he's, you know, the band were packing up and they were like, well, okay, he's not here. Don't know what to do. So they were phoning his mobile, his phone. It just kept going straight to voicemail. So they waited outside the main doors for about 20 minutes, thinking that maybe he went outside early to get some fresh air. Don't know. Then they thought maybe that maybe he went off with those two women that he was speaking to. Don't know where else he could be. And yeah, they waited and waited, couldn't find him, couldn't see him anywhere outside. And they thought, well, do you know what? He doesn't live that far. Like his apartment was walking distance from the Ugly Tuna Saloona. So they thought, okay, maybe he's just fucked off home. Maybe he's just thought, oh, do you know what? Can't bother to say goodbye. I'm a bit pissed. I'm going home. So they were like, okay, let's go. Do you know what I mean? We can't find him. He's obviously not here. We'll go. So the next day, Saturday, April 1st, you've got Alexis, his girlfriend, Randy, his dad, and Derek, his brother, were all phoning Brian. No answer. Couldn't get hold of him. And they thought, okay, well, maybe he had a bit of a heavier night last night than we thought. So, you know, probably just really hungover and he's sleeping it off. Didn't think much of it. Although Alexis said that it was odd for her, because she thought even if he was really hungover, he would pick up the phone to me. Do you know what I mean? We're literally going to be meeting up, you know, Sunday night and heading out Monday morning to the airport. So it's odd that he just wouldn't speak to me at all. So Sunday, 2nd of April rolls around. They still cannot get hold of him. So this is when proper worry starts sinking in. And it doesn't take long for like parents and loved ones to get that worry of like, oh my God, we haven't heard from him. You know, this is weird. Something could have happened. So Randy, Brian's dad, drove to Brian's apartment and thought, you know, I just want to know he's all right. So when he got there, Brian's car is parked in its spot and he thought, oh, thank God, he is here. He's just, you know, maybe just in bed. Randy had a key to Brian's apartment, so he unlocked the door, called out for him, nothing. But he said everything in Brian's apartment was like untouched. The bed was neatly made. His books were, stacked and put away. His wallet was there. His keys were there. And his prescription glasses was there. His passport, his credit cards, ID, cash, everything was there. And this also is kind of bonkers to me, because with Brian being out and in the pub, surely he would have had his wallet
and his keys. That's what
and
I've
his
just
keys.
written down. I just reached across to get a pen and paper so I could write some little
So
bits down that aren't adding up so far.
So that perplexes me. I can't work that one out. But there was no sign of a struggle. There was no mess, nothing missing, or there wasn't, like, his telly was still there and things like that. Bizarre. So Alexis, his girlfriend, said this trip was so important to him. It was his last gift from his mum. There is no way that he's going to miss this trip. So wherever he is and whatever he's doing, maybe I'll just meet him at the airport. So she actually went to the airport. Their scheduled flight was 9 a.m. And it was the flight to Miami. Oh, sorry. It was 11 a.m. Their flight. And Brian didn't turn up. So Alexis spoke to Randy and she said, he hasn't shown up. He would not miss this trip. Something's wrong. So Randy, Brian's dad, phoned the police and he filed a missing person report. And so the investigation into one of Ohio's strangest disappearances began. The investigation went full force. Detectives quickly focused on the Ugly Tuna Saloona because that was the last place that anyone had seen Brian, last location. And they thought, okay, this will be a fairly easy case. We'll be able to look at the CCTV, see where he went, fine. So the Ugly Tuna Saloona had two possible exits. One, which was the main entrance, and that's where the escalators were in the bit of floor. This is fully covered by high quality surveillance cameras. Investigators reviewed every single second of footage from 1 a.m. until sunrise. They slowed frames down. They enhanced images. They checked different angles. Brian Shaffer was never seen leaving. And the second exit was the emergency/service exit. It opened not onto a public street, but directly into a fenced off construction zone for the nearby Columbus Convention Center. So this is where it comes out. And the entire area was covered by security cameras. The cameras, I should point out, I think I'll mention it again later. So the security cameras, there was no camera for the Ugly Tuna Saloona on that door, but it was the surrounding businesses that all had security cameras that also covered that area.
Yeah.
So it covered the construction site and the back door. After viewing all of that footage from nearby businesses, again, Brian is not seen using that door either, or the street that comes out of that area. Nothing. So they expanded the search. Over 70 cameras across surrounding streets, parking garages, bus stops, nearby businesses. Not a single frame showed Brian walking or driving, or indeed getting into any vehicle after he stepped back inside the Ugly Tuna Saloon at 1:55 a.m. It was as if he'd walked through the doors and simply ceased to exist. I would also like to point out at this time, in Columbus, at this time, 2006, Columbus had more CCTV in it than Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Toledo combined. So it was one of the most observed places in the US.
Why though? Was it more
just
heavily
prided
crime?
No, it just prided it. There was a lot of, colleges and, schools and things like that. So I think it was just one of those things that like prided itself on the fact that, they had a lot of CCTV.
It's
so
not because the crime rate was higher.
No, just keeping everyone safe, I guess. But so now I'm going to talk about questioning the witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So people of interest in number one spot was Clint. He was the last person that was seen with Brian. He became an immediate focus. Early on in the inquiries, he gave slightly conflicting statements about exactly where and when he'd last seen Brian. And straight away, this sparked suspicion. He decided that he would not take a polygraph test. But I'd like to point out, because a lot of people think that this is really suspicious. Oh, he refused to take a lie detector test. This is a very common thing.
Yeah, they're advised by lawyers not
absolutely.
To do it.
Yeah. And Clint was no different. He was advised by his attorney to not take a lie detector test. Over the months of interviews, detectives found that there was really no physical evidence, there was no motive, and there was no proof that Clint had harmed Brian. Although apparently Brian's family remained doubtful. They thought that maybe Clint might have had something to do with it. I think particularly maybe Brian's brother thought that Clint might have been involved. But from what I've looked at, when I've looked at all the different pieces of evidence that, we're able to access on the internet, if Clint did do something to Brian, he must have literally evaporated Brian, because there was no evidence. And also Meredith was there, and also there was other people that it would tie in with. When would he have had the chance to do anything to him? Because Meredith was like, well, Clint was with me.
Yeah.
And the only time that he wasn't with me, and can be seen with me, was literally when he goes to the bathrooms, to the toilets, to look for Brian, and that was about 5 minutes. So how could he have done anything to Brian and hidden it? So I don't think that there was any involvement there, but I'll see what you guys think. Meredith Reed, she cooperated fully. She gave consistent, detailed accounts of everything that happened in the night. She only joined them at like midnight or something. So, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that she was driving, so she wasn't actually drinking. So she was quite coherent with everything. She voluntarily took a polygraph examination. I guess this is the only thing where it's maybe different, like with Clint, because she didn't have an attorney, whereas Clint did. Like,
yeah, but in a sense, out of the two of them, which one's going to be the police's main focus and main suspect? It's not going to be her, is it?
No, so, but I mean, they were both questioned. Do you know what I mean? But Clint had an attorney, Meredith didn't. But do you know what? It could be that Clint's family were like, do you know what? If you're getting questioned, we don't know how, knowledgeable Clint's family were about the law. Maybe they were like, do you know what? You could be railroaded here. It's irrelevant whether you did anything. We're going to get you an attorney. You know, we can afford it. It's fine. We'd rather that than, you know, you get taken down the garden path. But anyway, with Meredith, police quickly ruled her out as a suspect. So she was free to go. Then we have the two unidentified women that Brian was seen chatting to on the piece of floor. Police released their descriptions to the public and said, we're looking for these two women. We just need you to help with, you know, possibly a crime. Within days of them doing that, they found out who these women were. They were interviewed. They confirmed speaking with Brian on the landing, and they said he was friendly. He was obviously a bit pissed, but he wasn't like staggering and falling around all over the place. They said you could tell he was inebriated, but he wasn't sort of staggering around. You know, he was fine. He could hold a sensible conversation. But they had this chat, and then they parted ways, and they never saw him again. Investigators deemed their accounts as credible, and they were cleared entirely. Then we have the staff and the other patrons from the bar. Many people were interviewed. No one reported seeing Brian after he went back into the bar at 1:55. There were rumours of him saying that he wanted to go and speak to the members of the band because, as I've mentioned, he was keen to start his own band, be in a band. But the band have actually no memory of him coming over and speaking to them. This could be that maybe he was, you know, maybe he said to his friends, I'm just going to go and talk to the band. And then when he got over there, like maybe he just thought, oh, do you know what? They're busy. Or maybe there was other people talking to the band and he thought, no. So it's unclear as to whether he did actually speak to anyone in the band. We don't know. So investigators, after doing all their interviews and everything, and they thought, do you know what? This is a mystery. We're going to pull out all the stops. And in fairness to them, they really did. The entire Ugly Tuna Saloona building was dismantled. Floors were pried up, ceilings were pulled down, ventilation shafts were checked, crawl spaces were checked, pipes, storage areas. There was no trace of Brian, any clothing, any personal items, nothing was found. The fenced construction zone, adjacent buildings, alleyways, parking structures were combed thoroughly and repeatedly. They took in cadaver sniffing dogs. They detected no scent and no human remains, nothing. There was one tiny little moment where apparently one or more of the sniffer dogs detected Brian's scent in the alley behind where the construction site was, but then kind of nothing. That was that. And they said, well, that makes sense because Brian lived literally just down the road from that alley that runs along the back. So he would have used this walk path many times. So, you know, not really helpful. Other than that, nothing detected. Divers then searched the two waterways that were next to that. Nothing, no sign, no scent, no evidence, nothing was recovered. Hospitals, jails, homeless shelters, and morgues all across Ohio and 48 other US states, including Canada and Mexico, were checked. No record of Brian or anyone resembling Brian being admitted, treated, arrested, or identified. Nothing. His financial and digital trail, every bank account, credit card, debit card, driver's license record, social security number, cell phone, email, social media account, they were all monitored. There was zero activity after midnight 31st to 1st of April and since. His cell phone stopped transmitting signals entirely just minutes after 2 a.m. So if you remember, he walks back into the bar. He's seen on camera walking back into the bar at 1:55. So 5 minutes later, his phone stopped transmitting, and he's like, it's never pinged or anything since. So years pass. On March 31st, 2008, the second anniversary of Brian's disappearance, Randy Shaffer stood before reporters and pleaded, quote, "I need to know where my son is. I just want him home," end quote. Then in September, so a few months later, still in 2008, Randy was killed by a falling tree branch during a horrendous windstorm. And he died never knowing what happened to his son. Over the decades that followed, the Columbus Police Department kept the case active, periodically reopening it to apply new forensic technology, following thousands of public tips. I mean, it was chaos. There were supposed sightings all over the place in Michigan, Texas, Florida, Canada, and even Sweden. None were able to be verified and none were confirmed to be Brian. To this day, Brian has never been declared legally dead. His name remains on Ohio's official list of missing persons. Now, I mean, that is where the story ends. That's everything we know. So now I'm going to tell you some of the leading theories of what could have happened and why I think that they're not true. So theory number one, this is the most popular, is foul play. This remains the theory that investigators and the Shaffer family lean towards the most. Detectives believe that Brian likely met with violence inside or very near the bar because the emergency exit opened directly into a restricted construction site in an area where very few people went and where there was lots of heavy machinery and construction materials. And yeah, it made sense that if, you're going to hurt someone or, anything like that, that would be the thing. And all these construction materials and heavy machinery were moved daily as well. So there's going to be workmen going in there, touching everything, moving everything, removing footprints. It's the most likely place. His body could have been concealed there, possibly buried or removed during a time when, everything had died down a little bit. Someone could have gone back, removed it. But, and this is my take on it, if this happened, how is it possible that there is no trace of him? They searched and searched and searched. They had cadaver dogs in there, sniffer dogs. How did it go unnoticed? And also, why? Why would someone do something like that? There would have to have been some element of planning. And how is it possible that there is no DNA of Brian's anywhere? Not at all. There's no blood spatter. There's no bodily fluids found. Absolutely nothing.
So you tell me all of the theories, and I will
Yeah.
keep all of my things to the
Okay.
end.
Number 2 is voluntary disappearance. A small number of investigators and detectives think that maybe Brian could have been so crushed by the grief of his mother, um, and completely overwhelmed by the intense pressure of medical school, because it was intense, and I'm sure it still is. He may have just deliberately chosen to vanish, start his life in an entirely new way, far away, leave everything. This theory is firmly rejected by everyone that knew him. Everybody said this just wouldn't happen. He left all of his money, he left his ID, he left his passport, all his personal possessions. He never reached out to his brother. He never reached out to his girlfriend or anyone, any friend. He had no history of running away. He never spoke about wanting to disappear. And those that loved him said that they are adamant he would never do that. It's so unlike him. So I don't believe this theory, because why would he choose to disappear? If that's what he wanted, why would he choose to do it in the middle of town? Why would he risk doing it in front of all of these many, many cameras, all these people? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Why would you not get some of your stuff, like something? Why would you not? Why would you do it right before, like, this trip to Florida that his mum paid for and wanted him to go on? This is my last gift to you. And Brian and his mum were really close, and she was like, I can't wait for you to go on this trip. You know, it's something that really pleases me to be able to give to you. And he was like, Mum, thank you so much. I can't wait. It's going to be, amazing. Why not do it after that? And also, he lived right round the corner. Why choose to go missing from the bar when he knows that there's all these people and cameras? Theory number 3 is that he had a fatal accident. Some people have proposed that Brian could have accidentally fallen, been injured, or killed in the construction zone. Maybe he nipped out and thought, I'm just going to go this way. I can't be bothered to go all through the bar and all that. I can see the door is there open. I'm just going to nip out. Maybe he had some sort of accident within the bar. But there's this doesn't make sense to me either, because the surrounding cameras would have picked up him going out into the construction zone. But also they combed that restaurant, not restaurants, the bar, the Ugly Tuna. They combed it. They combed all of the construction area. There would have been, I mean, what did he do? Like, fall and, break his neck and disappear from all view? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the same can be said for each of these theories so far.
Hmm.
That they can't be possible because of the CCTV. So that can be said for each single one of these so far. So
Hmm.
therefore, if that's the theory that CCTV would have picked him up, then you can discount all of those theories so far.
Yes, and that's why I'm struggling.
Okay.
So
So then it's either that or
they're
the
they're the
CCTV
main
is
theories.
wrong.
Yeah. The only other one, it's one of those theories that everyone will go, oh, for God's sake, that's ridiculous.
You're not going to say
Is
aliens, are you?
Well, no, but not far off that. But like that, he's literally just wandered into some sort of portal and doesn't exist in this realm anymore, because that is honestly what the evidence is showing us.
Yeah. So,
What do you
right,
think?
I've got a couple of things, all right.
Yeah.
Theory number one,
Yeah.
foul play.
Okay.
Okay. So the theory is, he met some foul play while in the bar. But
Mm.
then that would mean that he was killed. And something would have had to have happened with his body. And if his body wasn't in the tuna saloona,
Mm-hmm.
then it would have needed to have been taken outside.
Yeah.
Okay. If the CCTV has been checked properly,
Mm-hmm.
then that's not an option. The dogs were there. Yes, dogs can be unreliable, but the dogs and the CCTV together, both of those aren't going to be
Mm.
wrong. So if we discount foul play,
Can I just add something on that?
yeah,
So the band were looked at as well, because they said if there was some kind of either foul play or an accident where they were like, shit, like
they had some
he's
big
just,
carry equipment.
yeah, they could have put him in a drum case or
Yeah,
something like that, carried it out. This was all checked.
yeah,
This was all checked. And one, this couldn't have happened because there was no time.
yeah.
The only time that the band were there was when there were other people all around. The bar staff were there tidying up, cleaning up. They turned the lights on when the bar shut, so it wasn't that there was dark corners or anything like that. But this theory has been looked into,
Okay.
because they were like, if he was killed in the bar, then they would have had to have done something with his body, which is why they ripped everything apart and they checked, like, with
Okay.
the band.
Have a question.
Sure.
They checked his bank account activity.
Mm-hmm.
Was there activity while he was at the tuna saloona?
I don't know.
Okay. Because if there was activity while he was at the tuna saloona, means he had his wallet on him.
Yeah,
Okay. His wallet was then at home with his keys.
apparently.
So it would have needed, how accurate is that information? If they're saying his wallet and keys were there,
I
they
don't know.
they must have
I
been
don't
there.
I don't know. It was reported from his dad,
Yeah.
but we don't, I mean, you can't rely on that 100% anyway, because I don't always take my wallet. I will take like a bank card
Yeah.
out and I'll think I just want to use that. Or sometimes I'll literally get cash and I'll take cash out of like my wallet,
Yeah.
leave my wallet where it is and go out.
Yeah.
So
That's what I wanted to know about
yeah,
the bank account activity.
yeah,
And
I'm
also
not sure.
it could have been any set of keys there, couldn't it? Doesn't
It
necessarily
could,
mean
yeah,
it
it
was
could.
his door key. It could have been
Yeah.
any set of keys there. And now when you say his wallet and keys were there, I immediately pictured on his side table, wallet and keys.
Mm.
But actually it could have been that his wallet was somewhere else and there was a set of keys hanging up.
Yeah.
But those keys could have been literally for his, for anything. So
Yeah.
we can't necessarily say his wallet and keys were there, and that he would have had them on him while he was at the tuna saloona, and
Yeah.
therefore something must have happened for him to either go back and put them down, or for somebody else to go back and put them down.
Yeah.
Um, for him to have left, for theory two, for him to have left voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and they're saying he wouldn't do that. He would not do that.
Mm.
Okay. How many times have we listened to an episode where somebody has killed somebody and everyone around them gone, he wouldn't have done that. No, we know him. He wouldn't have done that. That's not who
Yeah.
he is. But actually, they have done that. Or I never thought that person would have
Yeah.
killed themselves or taken their own life. Never would have thought that. Never saw it coming. So that's not credible to me
It's
for
not to
somebody to
me.
say he
No.
would never have done that. You never truly
You
know a
never know.
person.
No.
So he absolutely could have
And
done that.
yourself, do you know what I mean? I've done things where I think I never thought I would have reacted like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
especially after the passing of my mum,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, and that's another
it
thing as
can
well. And
it
you were
can do
saying
things.
this trip that his mum had paid for, and his mum had said, I really want you to go on this trip. I really,
Mm,
really want you to have a good time. You know, this is my last thing for you, the
mm,
last thing I could ever do for you. Why is he gonna want to do that if
I
that's the
know.
last thing she's ever done?
Yeah,
You're not gonna, oh well, now that there's nothing left, you know.
yeah. No,
Him to have gone on
absolutely
that
get
trip, I
that.
think, would have been really painful for him.
Yeah.
Such a reminder of
Mm,
his mum and what he'd done, what she'd done for him as well. So I think that trip can't be, well, he wouldn't have missed that trip. I
yeah.
think absolutely that probably, he probably had a lot of anxiety, a lot of feelings around that trip.
Yeah.
And he's gone, oh, I can't wait for this trip, can't wait for this trip. Because everyone's saying to him, you know, your mum wanted you to go on this trip. She
Yeah.
put a lot of thought and effort into that trip. Your mum really wants you to have a good time. That's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's a
Yeah.
perfect time for him to have gone the night before, or you know, the day before, for him to go, I can't
Yeah.
do this. I cannot do this. And they're saying he left all of his money. He left
Mm,
all of his money. He left all of his known money, money that they knew about, or money that was in those bank accounts. Okay, that doesn't mean that was all of his money.
mm.
Okay, you could have had money elsewhere. Sounds like a very smart guy. Um, just looking at my yeah, and everyone's saying, well, he never, you know, he never contacted his family again, or he never spoke about he wanted to disappear. You're not going to, because actually, I think this is probably something that he's decided maybe last minute. It's either going to have been a very last minute thing.
Mm.
I can't do this tomorrow, or I could whenever. When did he go missing, on the Saturday or the Sunday?
He went missing on the Friday night
Oh, the Friday night.
and they
Okay.
were going Monday.
Okay. So yeah, it could have been a very much, because when you drink, it lowers your inhibitions, doesn't it? And when you drink, it allows you to do things that you probably wouldn't have done when your guard is up. So I think he probably would have just gone, fuck it, it's now or never.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Um, but how he managed that,
well, that was going
he
to be my
must,
next
yeah.
question.
How?
And
So
also, like, we've got some of the why.
yeah,
I get that. That makes sense to me because grief is so destructive,
yeah.
so destructive. So I get that. But why do it from the bar? Do you know what I mean?
But
Like
that's what I mean. I think it was a very last minute. What time was chucking out time, please?
2 o'clock.
So why did he go back in at 1:55? What was the reason behind that?
He was outside talking. His two friends were in there and
Oh,
he
okay, he went
he's
back
just
in.
seen going walking from the bit of floor
Yeah. So after
back
that,
in.
a chucking out time, after that, his next steps would have been, I've got to go home, pack, go on this trip. That would have been his next movements essentially that weekend. After this trip out on the Friday, that
Yeah.
necessarily would have been the next thing. And he's probably gone, I can't front up to that. So
I
I don't
do
go home.
understand that, but I don't understand if you were thinking that and you were thinking, do you know what? I'm out of here. And you must have thought about you were saying that wasn't necessarily his only money.
Hmm.
So he must have been thinking about it to have,
Yeah.
some kind of money elsewhere. Why wouldn't you leave the bar with your friends and then go and then he just disappeared?
Because if it's the most surveilled area outside of there on the street, then perhaps it would have been more difficult. And if we're saying he's left the bar, he would have only left it on the CCTV area out on the exit, on
Mm,
the emergency exit, okay? Because yes, it's surveilled, but it's surveilled by probably quite far away cameras from other buildings that aren't purposely covering the area, but have picked it up on the
mm.
camera. Is that right? So
They're not far, the buildings. I mean, they cover like enough of it that you would see someone leaving.
right. Was
It's not
anybody else seen leaving via that exit?
no.
So nobody was seen leaving by
No.
that
Oh,
exit.
and also, on that note, everyone that when they watched all of the CCTV for like, 24, 48 hours, and they monitored and listed every person that comes in,
Yeah.
every person. And then when, like, throughout the night, they then tick off the people as they see them going.
Right.
Every single person was accounted for coming in and leaving,
Right.
apart from Brian.
Were there any bins, perhaps,
No,
outside? Because it
no,
could be another Cora McKeague.
yeah, no, nothing. Like, it was literally like, you know, bin bags.
Right.
There wasn't
Bigger
space for it.
bins.
It was literally, as if you went out the front, you had to go escalators and out the front
Yeah.
doors. If you went out the back, you literally came straight into the construction site. So that was like, unless you were a construction worker, that was a no-go
Right.
zone. The only other way that he possibly could have gone would have been over the balcony and dropped down into the street. However, that is also covered extensively by CCTV cameras that are in the actual main high street.
Okay. So logically, realistically, he's either in the building or out the building. Those are the only two options.
Absolutely, yeah.
So something is wrong there. So if it's the CCTV that's wrong, or they've not picked up somebody, then any of those theories could have been correct. He could have
Yeah.
left voluntarily, that he could have met an accident, or foul play could have happened, and he'd be taken out that way.
Mm-hmm.
If he's in the building, then again, foul play could have happened or an accident could have happened. So something in that investigation was wrong, because both of those statements can't be true. He wasn't in the building and he didn't leave. Both of those statements cannot be true.
That's why it's so perplexing.
Yeah. But then if something is wrong, if the CCTV wasn't checked thoroughly and something is wrong, or the building wasn't checked thoroughly and something is wrong, then you can't debate what happened because you haven't got all the facts,
Mm.
because he could have left. If they've not checked the CCTV properly,
I feel
he absolutely could
confident.
have.
I feel confident that they have checked the CCTV, because it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, if
like,
he'd left via the escalators, then they also checked the CCTV of the street, didn't they? And they didn't see him there.
yeah,
So,
or any surrounding there were thousands and thousands of hours of CCTV, because they had all of the CCTV from the main streets. They had all of the CCTV from all of the surrounding businesses. And he doesn't appear, like everyone else is accounted for, and he doesn't appear anywhere. And it's like, so that then makes you think, well, he could be in the building then.
yeah. But if he was in the building, he would have eventually been found, because even if they'd ripped it up and then not found him, a
Mm.
decaying body in a building like that would have, you know,
Well,
you would
it
have come
would
across it.
it would when you consider that this is it was the anniversary of 20 years of Brian Shaffer going missing this year.
Yeah.
He's been missing for more than 20 years, and there has never been any communication, no sightings of him, nothing.
So the communication from his phone stopped at 2 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
That would have happened really if his phone had run out of battery, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like if it's switched off.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
his phone had run out of battery, it doesn't mean he's necessarily purposely switched it off.
No,
But
but maybe it ran out of battery. And I mean, it's a coincidence that it literally stopped at 2 o'clock.
yeah. So that lends to my theory that he's gone, 2 o'clock is kicking out time. I can't face going home because then I'm going to have to go on this trip. So
Mm.
that's when I'm going to cease communication. I'm just going to disappear off the face of the earth. It could have been that he's gone somewhere to take his own life. He's going to have one final night enjoying himself, and then he's disappeared somewhere to take his own life. But then again, he would have had to have left the building.
It's just so perplexing.
Yeah. My theory is that he left voluntarily. That's my theory. But again, if he's left voluntarily, then I don't think he necessarily would have been thinking about, oh, I'll do this so that I don't get picked up on CCTV, or I'll go this way so that I don't get picked up. I don't think that necessarily would have been quite a conscious thought.
No, maybe it was just absolute blind luck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are other cases of, you know, that person just literally walked around the corner of that building and seemingly disappeared forever.
At the same time that a bus came past and obscured his vision.
Right.
You know, so
you never know.
Absolutely. And in the blink of an eye, you wouldn't go, oh, he can't be seen, or, you know, he's not left the building. If something had happened, if, for instance, he'd gone down the escalator, if it was kicking out time and he just so happens to be right behind somebody that you can't see,
you just
doesn't mean he didn't leave. It just means that they haven't seen him leave. And that's what I'm leaning more to.
Yeah.
Because you can't still be in the building. He just logically can't be in the building. I believe he left, but whether he left out the front exit or the back exit,
I
think he left and they just haven't picked it up.
Yeah.
But again, regardless of whether he left, it still doesn't explain where he then went to or what happened to him.
No. I mean, it's so perplexing. It's so perplexing. And I would like to think that obviously nothing bad and horrible did happen to him.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that way, because if in a bar full of people where he was seen at 1:55 and then the bar was still full of people, and then at 2 a.m. everybody left, there would have at no point would he have been alone in there with only one or two or three other people. You know, there wouldn't have been time for anything like that to have happened and nobody else to have witnessed it. You know, bar fights happen all the time, but there's a lot of people in that bar that see that fight.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything happened to him. I don't think he got into any sort of altercation. He could have perhaps got into an accident on his way home, but you would have found, I think he voluntarily left.
There was also people that spoke about Brian being one of the victims of the smiley face killers or killer.
Oh, right.
I don't, because it's not a case that we've covered as of yet.
Yeah.
But it's essentially killer or killers that would target inebriated young men that were like college students, and they would kill them and leave them in a body of water somewhere. And then they would do a smiley face somewhere. So there were rumours of that. I don't believe it. There's no evidence that shows that. I'm pretty sure that, you know, Brian's remains would have turned up at some point. They checked the rivers. There wasn't, to my knowledge, there wasn't a smiley face anywhere around, or so I don't buy that theory. I don't know. I think it's more likely, if we're not going to go for my portal theory, then I think it's more likely that he disappeared voluntarily.
Yeah.
And it's just blind luck that he was able to leave the ugly tuna saloon without being seen. Yeah. He might be somewhere in Sweden or England, who knows, right now, listening to this episode thinking, I went out the front, I went down the escalators. I have no idea. Yes, it is perplexing. It is perplexing. because the CCTV didn't pick me up. But that
Yeah.
is the way I went out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, I think that as well. I think that it's obviously it's perplexing that he disappeared and hasn't been seen again, but
Mm,
what adds to the mystery is that he isn't seen leaving and he's not found inside. So, but I do think it's like I said, both statements can't be true.
mm.
So there's
Although
got to have
it,
been an error somewhere.
I mean, what if, like, just for argument's sake, don't poo-poo me off. I know you're thinking it already. Just for argument's sake, we've got these missing people that literally just fucking disappear, like Bryce Lespisa, Brian Shaffer, and many, many more. What if that was actually a thing, that there was a portal that just would randomly open and someone's right near it just as it opens and they go in it? There is no argument that I know of that you could say that categorically 100% wouldn't happen or didn't
Right.
happen.
So my logical brain here, apart from saying what a load of shit, if I'm gonna say that portals are a thing,
Hmm.
why I think it didn't happen to
Yeah.
Brian is that in a busy bar, he at no point would have been the last one in there because even workers would have been there after everyone kicked out to tidy up and whatever else. He would not have been the only person and then to have sidestepped accidentally into a portal. Other people would have seen it. So
Not
that's the reason.
necessarily, because by 2 a.m., which is when his phone activity ceased and when Meredith and Clint started looking for him, there's every chance that he could have said, "Oh, I'm just going to nip to the bathroom and bust in."
Right.
And he's right near the bathroom, and the staff are like, "Oh yeah, no worries," because 2 a.m. there's still people like clearing up, packing up. Not everyone was out. The doors at the front are open onto that landing. There's still a couple of people like hanging around. Meredith and Clint are like, "Where is he?" He might have just gone, "I'm just going to nip into the toilet quick." Nipped, opened the door, portal, walked straight into it, thought, "Where the hell am I?" Portal shuts, gone. You can't say it's not possible because we don't know.
I think you can say it's not possible though, because
You can't. You can't
how
because you can't.
because it's
How do you prove something that like did or didn't happen unless you've got evidence? You can't prove that
well
something
look,
didn't happen
I think
because there's no evidence.
the evidence is that portals can't be a thing because how how would it work? How would it work?
Well, I
Um,
don't know. I don't know because I don't know how portals
well,
work.
that's what I think the evidence is they can't work. A portal to another dimension and a human body going through this, it can't work.
How? I mean, what? How do you? How can you say it can't work? Because you've never experienced a portal.
Because of how the universe works, because of how the world works. A portal can't just open up for you to step through into another dimension
Because what?
because it can't work.
But
Because
but oh,
well, how are they opening up? How are they just
we
opening
can't
up?
back that up though. We can't back that up because we don't know. It's exactly what you're saying about the CCTV footage of Brian leaving.
But it's 110 million times more likely that he just wasn't seen because he was obscured by vision, as
It's
opposed to,
likely,
yeah.
but what I'm saying is we don't know that portals don't exist. We don't know that they do exist, and we don't know that they don't exist.
Okay. The
But
evidence,
but the evidence, the absolute evidence is we have human beings that disappear from all over this planet, and we have no answers, no evidence to support anything that's happened to them.
yeah, but you say, for instance, 50 years ago, somebody disappeared. And same as this, for instance, somebody disappeared 50 years ago, and everyone's gone, They must have just vanished off the complete face of the earth. We don't know what happened. We don't know where they are. They weren't seen leaving, you know, they've disappeared off the face of the earth. 50 years later, their remains are found. And you'll never know what happened to them, but something did happen to them. So, and it's the same as like the episode that we covered. The boy went missing and he just wasn't seen again. And it's like, well, where did he go? And he was found in a chimney. How did he end up in a chimney? You will never know because it wasn't seen. But just because it doesn't make sense to us doesn't mean it didn't make sense to them at the time what they were doing. The boy that died.
You're proving my point, because
I'm not.
you are, and it's
It wasn't a
accidental.
portal.
No, because in 50 years we could look back and go, portals are a thing, because we see them all the time now. They're getting more and more frequent. We're told what to look out for. You know, it's a perfect storm when this happens, and this happens, and it's this temperature and it's windy, whatever it is, or there's a lightning storm. These portals open up. And now we know. But 50 years ago, when we were recording our podcast on it, we had no idea. All I'm saying is it's highly likely that he probably left without being seen, and he went off to live a different life where he wasn't Brian and he hadn't lost his mum. I get that. But what I'm saying is we cannot prove that it wasn't some sort of portal. And that's where these missing people are going.
But
because
we also can't prove that he didn't just evaporate into thin air.
Absolutely.
If you're saying that,
absolutely,
you can't prove that the floor didn't open up and he sank through it and then it closed again. You can't prove that he didn't just turn into mist and float away.
Yeah.
You know, these things are just because you can't prove it doesn't mean that it does exist.
But what I'm saying is you can't prove that it doesn't.
But then if that's how your theory is working, then a million things could have happened to him.
That's exactly why it's so perplexing. That's exactly why I'm saying it's so perplexing. Yes, it could be all of these things, but we cannot sit there and say, just because I can't prove it means it didn't exist, because we cannot prove that he walked down that escalator and the CCTV, for whatever reason, didn't pick it up. We can't prove that. So that is likely. But we also can't prove that he didn't walk into a portal and disappear, where the same thing happened with Bryce Lespisa, the same thing that happens with the Bermuda Triangle and the Bennington Triangle. These things happen and we just go, yeah, I know, it's weird, isn't it? But there are millions of scientists all over this planet that are trying to find why these things happen. And I think they know. There's evidence that shows
I can't let you win this. I can't let this episode finish.
That's fine. That's fine. Prove to me. Give me some kind of reasonable explanation to tell me why portals don't exist.
Well, you put me on the spot, really.
All I'm saying is it is an option when you cannot disprove it.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying, but I think it's also a little bit silly to say just because you can't disprove it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because then,
yeah, but we're not sheep. We're not sheep. We can't just follow these are the possible theories. Here's 5 of them, because this is what you all know. We're not going to get any further on in this, evolution, science, anything, if we don't start to think, well, hang on a minute, would that be possible? And go, okay, it could be possible because of this, this, and this, but it couldn't be possible because of this, this, and this.
I'm looking it up. Can portals be possible? And I'll tell you why.
You got to bear in mind that there are there are military men that have categorically reported that portals do exist.
Right, well, everything that I'm looking doesn't support my theory, so I'm not going.
Okay, well, just
I'm not going to delve into it.
No, all I'm saying is I don't expect for you to go, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, from my point of view, when these other things cannot be proven or disproven, then
You have to look elsewhere. I do get that.
You have to consider that if we cannot disprove 100% that portals exist, that could be what
I
happened.
just feel like if he's out there,
If
he's
you get
gonna be
sucked
like,
into a portal, mate, your last thought is going to be, fuck, Kate was right. That's going to be shit for you,
oh, wow.
mate.
That's gonna be shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be like, I told you so.
I'll be like, I knew it. I know where she is.
Yeah.
I know where she is.
But
She's
it's
been sucked into the ether.
like, you know, you said people disappear like all the time, and we don't know where they go. That when people are out on a hike or something, like it's so simple for things to have happened that you just would never think happened, like
Yeah.
falling down a fissure in the earth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you would never, if I'd be walking out with you, for instance, we're hiking along, all of a sudden you're like, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you're not there, because that's what you do, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden you're not there. And I'll be like looking around, where the fuck has Kate gone? She's literally disappeared into thin air. She was just here 1 second ago. And then you're never seen again. There's no CCTV
Search
of you anywhere.
dogs, everything, yeah.
Nothing. But you've fallen down a fissure or something that's quite scientifically logical.
Yeah, like an old mine shaft or something. I mean, that wouldn't happen because I'm too fat and I'd get wedged. So you'd turn around and go, where's Kate? And I'd be up to my middle in the hole going, I'm here.
Oh, it's a good job. It's a good job.
Good job,
I'm
so tubby. No, I am fully on board with, probably more often than not, that is what happens. Actually, good advert for my next episode. My next episode is going to be based around what you just said about people that just seemingly disappear, but then they're found. So it's going to be volume 2 of the Squirm trilogy.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's like there's some in there that's like, geez. Yeah.
Well, let's leave it there then, and I'll put a poll out on the Spotify episode, and people can vote for what they think happened.
Great idea. And I'm going to put information about it on the case file for Brian as well. And if by any chance you are out there, Brian, and you are listening, let us know what you think about portals, and also subscribe.
Well, then perhaps let your family know you're okay first. And then get in touch. But yeah. All right. Well, that was a very, very perplexing episode.
Is very perplexing.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you all on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
That might be it for today's episode, but if you fancy even more weird and wonderful episodes,
head over to perplexedpodcast.com and become a Blamley member for just $5 a month.
You'll get an extra episode every month, plus loads of juicy bonus bits, like really in-depth case files.
All the links are in the show notes.
Come hang out with us on socials too.
And don't forget to follow the show and drop us a cheeky review.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.